see if we can switch over. Thank you for the answer. Ina?
Thank you very much. Okay. Again, I'm sorry for all these technical inconvenience. So, and thank you for the invitation. I wish I could be there. So just I'm gonna start by mentioning that migration to the United States is an old phenomenon. However, in recent years, the demographic composition of people migrating has changed considerably, incorporating a large number of children. That means that motivations to emigrate has changed. There are not any longer those what they called economic migrants. How as Eva was saying, the reasons to emigrate are for other than the American dream. When a family decide to emigrate to escape, on the one hand, there is the uncertainty, the fear, and the risk of even losing their lives along the way. But on the other hand, there is nothing but two powerful desires. The first is to survive, and the second is to live with dignity. As you probably know, the Mexican government and as the Guatemalan government maintain a policy of curbing migratory routes to the United States. Transit and immigration controls have triggered a decent growth in arrests, rejections, and deportations. And in turn, criminal networks and corruption have turned irregular migration into a very lucrative business and therefore increasingly dangerous. Mexico stopped being el país amigo. During the overland journey through Mexico, children are exposed to different forms of violence, such as, number one, xenophobia, abuse by the security forces, or becoming easy prey to criminals. In 2023, the Mexican migration authorities registered thousands of children migrating to the United States. Approximately almost 72% of those children, those are the numbers, almost 113,000 children is what the Mexican migration officers have in record. However, that number is shy because there is not considered the thousands of children that go through irregular paths and all the children that just are not seen or that fall in under the crime under the crime lands. Also to consider is that in 2019, a little around the pandemic times, that number of children were approximately 53,000. And now we are talking about over 100,000. And at that time, there were about 60% of those children were under the age of 11. And now those children are children under 11 years old are 72% of them. So every time, more and more young children are taking those risks. Excuse me. What I'm gonna present you is some of my a part of one of my researches with children is that has been my focus, and is how I started my career, trying to bring data, bring reality from the voice of the children, because it's hard to collect data. It's hard to get in with children, and that's what that we try to do to bring their voices. So we conducted research with children on the move en route to the United States to find out their resilient resources to move forward despite so much adversity. We conducted this research at two strategic points in Tapachula, situated on the Mexican-Guatemalan border, and this port of entry to Mexico, and also in Ciudad Juárez, and as you know, located on the U.S.-Mexican border, and which is the second busiest port of entry to the United States, and actually is the second busiest port of entry in the whole world. It's just imagine the implication of your participation, or of being involved into this adventure. Children spoke about this is I designed this on their this research on the under the supervision of the IRV, which is the authority that follows up, and that everything goes with the utmost sensitivity and security for the children. And I ended up interviewing for this research 76 children between the ages 8 to 12 from different countries in Latin America. And the children spoke of the overwhelming power and control of criminal forces in collusion with local authorities. However, in the children's country of origin, when they suffer this type of violence, when they suffer, having their extended family and community, they tend to normalize their difficulties to a certain extent. Likewise, children develop strategies to cope with stressors such as vigilance, always being in a group, or not playing outside the home among other plants. And it's important to note that because when they leave their communities, they get into even more conditions of vulnerability. They don't have any longer these resources. However, when I was speaking to them, the moment the children felt more vulnerable is when they find out they have to leave, and this is a tricky situation. because when they are in their country of origin, they talk with the family. They tend to talk with the community, with their family. They agree, and they just don't know what they are gonna go through, and they start to notice that something is really really wrong when they noticed that they have to leave the most vulnerable of all, which are their grandparents, younger children, and of course their pets. So for clinical reasons, this is an important moment where we have to, as psychologists, we have or clinical nurses or other professionals. This is a important moment where we have to intervene and to work on it and try to process. That particular moment is where the psyche starts breaking. I mean, not making any sense, just to live. So it's when they start to realize the severity of reality. And some people says, okay, it's when children mature. So that has nothing to do with getting, I mean, to mature or to be even to be more smarter. No, no. This is all. This has to do all with suffering. So suffering is what we have to keep in mind. What they are going through. Therefore, on the roof, children are exposed not only to observation, but to direct or indirect experiences of violence. Children find themselves in unknown places as a result. They do not have the cognitive and behavioral structure to face new threats and perceive themselves even more vulnerable and in a constant state of alert. That's also a situation that in the continuity, the chronicity of being in a constant alert, of course, disrupting their ability to concile to sleep. Upon arriving at the Mexico-US, I mean, the ones that survive, that's also a thing that we have to say it. A lot of children do not survive. It is what I also noticed by doing this type of investigation, by going to the other side of the country, seeing how many children are getting ready to cross the 5,000 kilometers of Mexico, and how many they make it really, and especially girls are the ones who survive the least. Well, upon arriving at the Mexico-US border, children stated experiences of robbery, homelessness, cold, and most of all, xenophobia. For the first time, they felt embarrassed to be Salvadorian or Guatemalan or Mexican. That's another condition of vulnerability that they didn't know what was it. And it's important to notice as well, because as I said, it's not in their structure, in their psychological structure. So that can break a child, and that can break a human. The experience of migration was signified by children as a series of painful, distressing, shocking, terrifying, and most of all, unjust events. They kept saying, this is just not fair, not fair. That is the most prevalent statement. such migration experiences have a severe adverse impact on their well-being, with long-term consequences to children's developmental milestone and psychological health. Something important, when a child is growing, their brain cannot take this, as I said, is not in their structure, so they cannot take so much adversity. So what the brain does is that stop, literally stop. So that means stop growing. And even though later on they reach some balance or they reach some type of safety, the lost milestones is gonna be forever lost. That is why it's very important for us to focus on children and intervene when we are talking about children. Children suffer diverse pervasive psychological states before developing a disorder. That's also important to say before even talking about trauma. Let's talking about suffering. And it's also important to consider all those symptoms of suffering before even talking about other disorders, because although they are negatively affected by traumatic events, there are other needs that they need to be covered before even talking about, as I said, psychological trauma. Such as fear, such as sadness. Those symptoms, those are the ingredients for important disorders, and it is important to do not talk about depression or anxiety or trauma. Let's talk about fear. Let's talk about lack of sleep. Let's talk about hunger. Let's talk about sadness. Let's talk about how is it that they are worried, or what is the most why do they worry? And children also, they nourished from the resilience of their parents. And just imagine, or just try to remember when you were a child and you had a trouble, possibly you always thought about, okay, my dad or my mom is gonna take care of it, right? Or usually is how it goes in normal situations. But imagine when they see their parents without resources, or crying, or just not having the responses, how to handle such situations. So for the psychological impact to them is adverse, and it is powerful. However, even though although some children were negatively affected by such traumatic events, some of them, they show remarkable resilience to overcome adversity. By resorting to play, family, faith, and most of all, social support. So please just try to, I hope you can see the importance of your existence, of what what you do truly save lives, truly save children's lives. And they come with a lot of resilient resources. However, a pertinent question would be, for how much longer will these resilient resources last?
Gina?
Yes,
Hey, Gina?
yes.
Gina? We need to wrap up because we have another speaker that is supposed to be on now.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up. Among those resources, there are the cultural factors, and as I said before, even thinking about about trauma or how to repair their psychological state, we have to address the basic their basic needs, just as you do it, and some healing steps to is to learn more about their trauma, how to handle the stress, and work with basically CBT. And also there are some
Gina,
policies. Yes,
can you hear me?
yes, I do.
No? Okay. We need to wrap up on this quickly
Okay.
because we have one more speaker
Okay.
that was supposed to be up. So if you can just kind of give us the ending and what we should be thinking about as we help these children.
Yes, okay. Just gonna. This is my last one of my. I mean, I can wrap up with this one because this is the voice of one of the children. I don't know if you can hear it. Okay. 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 I don't know. Okay. No.
Si pudieras darle un consejo a un niño o a una niña de tu edad para seguir adelante, ¿qué le dirías?
Saber que se proteja, que ame a su mamá, que la quiera y que se proteja, que le diga que cuando salga a la calle, que se pongan todos la mascarilla y para no enfermarse.
Ajá.
Y Jesús siempre quiera con ustedes, con nosotros, con toda la gente, que la quiere Jesús, que la ama.
No, que Jesús te quiere y que Jesús te ama. Ok.
A toda la gente, Jesús lo quiere, lo cuida.
Muchas gracias, Milton.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. That was.
Thank you.
I just wanted to that Milton was saying that Jesus loves you so much. Jesus loves you so much. And thank you for listening.
Thank you, Gina. Thank you, Gina. I hope you feel well soon. God bless you.